And you're watching the Tennessee Valley this morning, and as promised, we're going to talk about some romantic movies. I have some very special guests. Rob has been here before, Rob Alderman, and we have with him his partner in crime is Ryan Fazeli. Did I say that right, Ryan?
Faricelli.
Faricelli. I'm so sorry. It's early on a Monday morning.
People like to say Faricelli.
Faricelli. Yeah, I bet you like Italian food.
Yeah.
It's great to have you guys here. It's Valentine's Day. Of course, we're supporting. We are celebrating and supporting Valentine's and Cupid and all that. And you guys are the local experts when it comes to romantic movies. You have your own podcast show on the internet. And let me give that a plug in case anybody wants to watch you. It's called Lights Camera Cleveland.
Indeed.
And all you have to do is Google Lights Camera Cleveland and it'll pop up. And these guys do a film review every week. Is that right?
Yeah, weekly.
Weekly. But what we want to talk about today is romantic movies. In your expert opinion, give us the top 5 most romantic movies of all time. Now, I'm going to give you one of my favorite, and we'll see if it's on the list.
We're ready.
Sleepless in Seattle.
What?
We argued about that for some time, actually.
This is the deal. I will tell you the truth, is that I am in love with movies this morning. It's early.
It is early.
This is early. I don't know how you do this.
You don't get up this early.
But, yeah, we argued about this. I wanted Sleepless in Seattle on the list. He didn't, so we had to cut movies off the list.
Okay.
I had to cut Sleepless in Seattle off the list, and he had to give up Dirty Dancing.
So,
So, you know, it was kind of like which one, you know.
So we compromised and cut them
People
both.
can't hear the girls over here, but they're like, oh, Dirty Dancing.
Oh, that's great. I love that one.
That's a fantastic movie.
So Sleepless in Seattle and Dirty Dancing are, we would say, also Rans.
Yeah.
So let's start
We'll
with.
call them 6 and 7.
Okay.
That's right, that's fair.
Okay. Let's start with number 5 and work our way up to number 1. What's number 5?
Well, number 5 is, this is going to make your co-host happy. Number 5 is going to be Titanic.
Boom.
Yeah.
Because nothing says love like the most depressing story ever told.
Nothing says love like dying together.
2.5 hours, and we all know how it ends.
That's right. You no one went into this film wondering, hey, I'm just not sure what happens.
Yeah.
What goes on here?
This was made in 1997. It's directed by James Cameron, one of the highest-grossing films of all time.
Starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, who we know you love, Dan.
You know your stuff. Wow, I'm so impressed.
Well, you don't show up on Dan Howell's show unprepared.
That's right.
Sometimes you do.
Number 4, we're going to go with When Harry Met Sally.
Oh, yes. I'd forgotten about that one.
Yeah, we think, this kind of falls a little bit in the Sleepless in Seattle vein.
That one didn't have Tom Hanks in it, did it?
No.
Negative. That's a Billy Crystal film.
That's right. It was Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan.
Correct.
This was in 1989, of course, and was directed by Rob Reiner, who, of course, was Meathead.
And he's also the guy, you have to think of Rob Reiner as like the guy who directed anything worth watching in the 80s.
This is true.
Stand By Me, this film, there's...
Spinal Tap.
Yeah, Spinal Tap, all the great love stories.
He really was kind of ahead of his time. A great director.
If it was romantic, he directed it.
That's right.
And funny.
Although, strangely
Spinal
enough,
Tap.
not the only, it's the only film he directed on this
So
list, though.
who was the stars in that movie?
Billy Crystal.
Billy
Meg
Crystal.
Ryan.
And Meg Ryan. And Meg Ryan. Meg Ryan.
Ryan.
She was always crying.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
she was in, like all of the movies of that genre in that era, she was in all of them. Sleepless in Seattle, You Got Mail, When Harry Met Sally. I mean, she really had a niche there, didn't
They
she?
used to call her America's Darling
Yeah.
during that time.
What happened to her?
She did City of Angels and disappeared.
Wow.
That's right. Well, at some point, here's the facts. You get old. People don't want it. Yeah, it's a fact. You just do. I'm not trying to offend anyone out there. I'm trying to be a good film critic and say,
There you go.
every once in a while, you have to concede
You have
it.
to just give
And
it
you're
up.
not going to be in the young people's romance.
Cameron
movies
Diaz
anymore.
is going through that right now with The Green Hornet. Boy,
Yeah.
I mean, she really looks old in that one, and,
I
and
saw
she's
The Green
taking a
Hornet.
beating for it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw The Green Hornet.
Yeah.
It was a fun movie,
Did you
but
think
that's
she
all
looked
it was.
old?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, see,
Yeah, I did. I thought she looked old.
you guys didn't want him to say that, did you? It was kind of rough.
You guys,
Oh, you do? Okay, they think she looks
so
old.
you heard it here first on Dan Howell.
So
Cameron Diaz,
it looks
old.
old. So we've got 5 and 4. What's number 3?
Number 3 is 2004's The Notebook.
Oh, yeah, I
This
love
is
The Notebook.
directed by Nick Cassavetes, who is, interestingly enough, he's best
I'm
known.
sorry, I got to laugh at that. I love that.
I did. I love
Oh, I just love that notebook.
it really spoke to me. I mean,
The first time, I know it. The first time I saw The Notebook, I would remember I was watching it with my wife, and she was just weeping.
Yeah.
And I was like, am I supposed to be crying now? Am I supposed to cry right now? But it's a fantastic
And James Garner, of course. To do a movie of
Yeah.
that caliber at that level at his age, what was he in his 70s? Was he when he made that movie?
Well, I'll tell you, he's old enough that at the end, when they, I don't want to give up too many spoilers here, but at the end, when they pass away, you're kind of like, did he just pass away? It's a little disturbing, almost. But, that's the movie, Dan. This is the film that made Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams, Rachel McAdams. Before this film, they were kind of some fringe actors. After The Notebook, forget about it.
Right, now Ryan Gosling, of course, is everywhere. Prior to this, all he had done was he played young Hercules on the Hercules television show.
Not exactly a good resume builder.
Yeah, he's not happy we just mentioned that. He's going to write an angry letter.
Okay, so The Notebook is number 3, so what's number 2?
Number 2 is Gone with the Wind from 1939. This
so
one
you guys have reached way back.
Well, absolutely.
Of all
It's supposed to be of all time.
All-encompassing. This is directed by Victor Fleming. Interestingly enough, this is the movie that beat The Wizard of Oz for Best Picture. Any other year, you would think Wizard of Oz would win Best Picture, but not this year. And the really interesting thing is that Victor Fleming directed both.
What?
Did he
How
really?
did that happen?
It's true, though.
That's right. He was kind of, this was back during the Hollywood system, the studio system, and he was under contract to make several movies with that studio, and
it's also
had a great year.
It's from back in the day when somebody who was good at doing something then got to do good things all the time.
Well, he had pretty good range to go from Wizard of Oz to Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
He did pretty good.
Yeah, and of course that film is 4 hours long.
Yeah.
So it's the only film on this list. Interestingly enough, we were certain that Titanic would be the longest.
And it's been parodied so many times. The best of all time.
4 hours, though.
Yeah.
4 hours. We warn you at home. Listen to us. Don't just sit down and throw this in your DVD player tonight.
Yeah. Set aside.
Don't do it. You're going to need half a day.
Yeah.
Maybe schedule some lunch and dinner, and don't just sit down with your sweetheart and say, hey, it's Valentine's Day. Let's watch Gone with the Wind. Because you're going to be like, it's like 2 a.m., honey. I don't know what what are we going to do? I'm tired.
Segments of that movie have been parodied so many times. The best of all time was Carol Burnett with the curtain, when she took the curtain and made the evening gown in her TV show. That was fantastic.
And nothing says romance like Carol Burnett.
Carol Burnett, there you go.
Titanic, Carol Burnett.
There you go.
Romantic.
We're right there.
Drum roll, we're now down
Number
to number
one.
one. What is the number one movie of all time romantic?
Would you like to take a guess?
Oh, come on. Come on.
You Got Mail?
No.
No, actually, we're going to go all the way back to 1942.
Really?
That's right.
We are.
Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman, Casablanca. There's some cheering over here.
Of course.
That's right. This is directed
goodness.
by Michael Curtis, who also directed White Christmas, and he also directed the Errol Flynn Robin Hood film. So again, another one of those directors that was really
I
par
had to
for the
fight you
course.
for this one.
A little bit, yeah.
I even had to fight him to get this on the list, and I'm going to tell you why. It's because it's really not that happy.
Right.
And I think that Ryan...
He doesn't get the girl.
Yeah,
And it's done in black and white, wasn't
correlates
it?
to happiness.
Wasn't it a black and white?
Yeah, it was.
Black and white.
You know, and the interesting thing about this film is that the love story isn't actually the main story that we follow. The love story is actually Ingrid Bergman and her husband, and her struggling to leave him for Humphrey Bogart. And of course, Humphrey Bogart at the end says, the world is bigger than you and I. He needs you more than I do, and he loves her enough to let her go, and that's timeless.
And this is why women especially love this film, I think, is because, honestly, Dan, and I think this is why I love the film too. I won't just say women. This is everyone. Yeah. Is the fact is that Casablanca, more than anything else on this list, is such a realistic love story. And at the end, when he has to leave her, and you know that he's doing what he's doing in the best interest of her, in the best interest of
the world,
of her husband, doing what's right. Sometimes that has to overcome whatever your personal romantic situation is.
That's real.
And I think that especially in a world today where people throw love away, where people don't really take love very seriously, that speaks to them.
Yeah, I'm getting the wrap-up sign over on the side of the stage, and we have
over.
to take a break. But guys, this has been so much fun. We've got to make this a regular feature. I'd love to have you on once a week, once a month, whatever you can spare.
We will be back.
I love movies.
This is so much fun. I've had a blast. And quickly before we break, I want to tell you to Google Lights Camera Cleveland. Is that right? Lights
That's
Camera
right.
Cleveland.
Lights Camera
and
Cleveland.
you will get Rob and Ryan's film critique on the latest movie. So do that right now. We've got to take a break. Robin Ryan, thanks so much for coming by.
Thanks for having us, Dan.
Back in just a moment.